This is the human heart. Central to our physical body, our survival, revered by poets throughout history as the emotional center of our being. The place we instinctively touch when asked to point to ourselves. And now, what we have known intuitively is being understood scientifically. Researchers are unlocking a new science of the heart that could change everything we know about health and our interconnected nature. Coherence is a state of balance between heart, mind, and emotions, creating a favorable cascade of neural, hormonal, and biochemical events that benefit the entire body. But this phenomenon not only benefits us personally, it affects everything around us, emitting an electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 3 feet outside of the body. When you are in coherence, your heart resonates at the same frequency as the Earth's magnetic field. This frequency positively affects everything around you. When a group of people are in coherence together, this effect is magnified. Could communities synchronized in coherence lower violence, accelerate cooperation, and global harmony? This is the purpose of the Global Coherence Pulse. If we can measure the impact of thousands of people in coherence at the same time, it could lead to a breakthrough in understanding the full potential of the human heart. All you need to participate is your presence and your heart. To take it to the next level, join the research study by downloading the app and getting an HRV monitor to measure your personal coherence. The world needs it more than ever before. Each human heart is unique and magnificent by itself. But imagine what could be possible when we unify.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Global Coherence Pulse. I love seeing that we're all coming in from around the world. Wow, there's Norway and France and boy, all over. It's so beautiful to see you. My name is Teresa Collins, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Pulse, along with Roland McCready and Claudia Wells and the Live It Now production team. And I just want to start this event by expressing our gratitude. Thank you for bringing us into your home and your heart today. We know that you have so many options for where you can spend your time, and I love that you're investing your time and energy to be right here today with us on this beautiful equinox and here to bless the waters of the planet. In the Global Coherence Pulse, we believe that the most essential things that we can do right now to support and empower ourselves and the whole of life is to cultivate our capacity to choose love over fear in the face of whatever we face. And there's a lot that we're facing together. And when we come together like this and we come together and practice coherence and pulse the field with our loving energy, it supports us all to be able to stabilize more fully that powerful choice. Because the truth is a thriving world is an inside job first and foremost. But it takes a village to sustain it. And that's what we're learning through the new heart sciences. So these monthly pulses provide us that opportunity to practice and come together. And as our numbers grow, we can use devices like the Global Coherence app and the sensors to begin to get some feedback and help science tell the story of the power of our collective human heart. So if you have the Global Coherence app, please log in and join the global group so we can see your image on the map. where you are on the planet. And if you have a sensor, please plug it in and feel free to put in the chat some of the readings that we might have during our pulse session today. And that way we get some of that feedback. And you can download that app in the App Store. And if you want to learn about the sensors and use those at another time, you can go to globalcoherencepulse.org and you can find those. So today's the equinox. I see everybody's wishing us a happy equinox. And if you're on the northern hemisphere, it's spring. And I love spring. This is such a nice time for new beginnings. And if you're on the southern hemisphere, it's autumn, which is also such a celebration of life because it's celebrating the bounty of life that came from the spring. So I love that we have that balance happening all the time. And we're going to celebrate life today by pulsing the planet, the water on our planet, personal and planetary waters, with our love and coherence. And our waters need it more than ever before. And this year was claimed as World Water Year. And World Water Day is just in a few days on March 22nd. So we wanted to use this pulse today to bless the waters of this planet and begin to lay a grace-filled foundation for all of the water celebrations that are coming. And our guides today for this experience are Dr. Jude Currivan and Jane Corbett from Whole World View. And our guest artist today is Manose Newa. And we also have some music videos from Kristen Hoffman and Maria Stark. So this event is going to be juicy, 75 minutes, and that will include a 30-minute meditation. We also want to invite you to have a glass or a pitcher of water with you because we are going to bless, ingest, and offer to the earth at the close of our pulse today this blessing. So let's begin by placing our hands on our hearts and put our attention on our breath that's moving in and out of our hearts. And bring your awareness to a memory that connects you deeply to water. For me, it's my time of swimming with dolphins in Kealakekua Bay in Hawaii. Every time I think about those dolphins and the experience that I had in the waters in Hawaii, it really changes me in such a deep way and brought me into a deep relationship with water. So, oh, and here's an image of me with the dolphins. So what is it for you? What is your deep connection with water? And bring that into your heart right now. Great. So to begin our blessing, I want to invite in my dear friend Manose. And I'm going to bring up an image of Manose here. It's one of my favorite new images of Manose. Look at this image. He looks like he's walking on water, which, you know, Manose actually is pretty tricky. He does some amazing things. And Manose is going to open us up today with a blessing of a song to open our hearts and get us ready for our journey. So Manose, will you come on camera, my friend? Manose says, Bonzuri flute player. I love that you played the flute right away, Manose, as you came on. Manose travels with Devra Pramal and Matan around the world, and he brings his love and joy. Manose is the one bringing joy into the world with all of his work. And he does dance parties with the Islands of Coherence. He's offering his music on Facebook all the time. Thank you so much, Manose. So beautiful. Really love that you started us off with those beautiful songs. So I want to go ahead and introduce our guests today that are going to take us on a journey for blessing our water. And I'm going to start with Dr. Jude Currivan, who is a cosmologist, a planetary healer, author of The Cosmic Hologram, and co-founder of Whole Worldview. And Jude is also a lifelong water baby. She's a Piscean and a water dragon and a scuba diver, marveling at and ever grateful for Gaia's water in their glorious forms. And Jude, I picked this particular water dragon because she's looking up at the cosmos. And I know that Jude, even though she has her feet firmly rooted on the ground and beautifully connected with the water, she's also always gazing up to the cosmos to find answers about our glorious history and our glorious potential. So Jude, thank you so much for coming today. I'm going to introduce Jane as well, but I really wanted to celebrate you, and I love that you're a water dragon. I just love it.
Thanks, Teresa.
So I'm going to bring Jane on also because Jane, we're going to move right from Jude, who's going to kind of set up our theme right into our beautiful meditation with Jane. So Jane Corbett is a facilitator of generative leadership and innovative processes. As we work with our personal and collective evolution and the intelligence of our hearts, we can grow our capacity for systems transformation and the renewal of a civilization in tune with the very special planet that we share. She is a member of the Whole Worldview core team. And her fascination with water, and we'll bring up an image for you, Jane, that I picked. Her fascination with water became as a small child fascinated by the dance of light on water and the swirling patterns of water flowing in rivers and pulsing of waves in the sea. And Jane yesterday told me that she's been spending every morning going down to the water with her meditations and just really so connected to water. So Jane, thanks for coming on today and bringing your beautiful presence. And we look forward to your meditation. So, Jude, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight your video. Thank you so much again for coming on, you beautiful water dragon. And I can see your water dragon over there over your shoulder. Yes. Thank you so much. And we'll hand this beautiful audience over to your loving hands.
Thank and bless you, Teresa. And it's wonderful to be with everyone. And thank you again for all your good wishes on this wonderful equinox. And when I feel the essence, the energetic essence of the equinox, as Teresa said, we're moving into spring in the northern hemisphere, we're moving into autumn, fall in the southern hemisphere. So we have this sort of literal, this pulse. We're part of a global coherence pulse, but there is this wave that actually flows all the way around Gaia as we move into the light, into the dark, into the light, into the dark. And these times, and water, of course, is so archetypal. You know, we look at water and we see waves. We see waves. We often don't see what is beneath those waves. But of course, everything we call reality is waves, is waveform, is vibration, is frequency. And water embodies that fundamental nature of reality in exquisite ways. Actually, I want to tell a very brief story about my profound experience of water when I learned to scuba dive. Because I'm tiny, and I got loaded up with all this scuba gear after about half an hour in a swimming pool, and into a boat, out into a lagoon of 100 feet of water or more, and told to just hold my mask and go off backwards into the ocean. And the waves then were very high. And so I did as I was told as a good student. And I went off backwards into the waves and I was terrified. And I began to hyperventilate. I was so frightened. And my instructor, my dear instructor, could see how terrified I was, swam in front of me and just took my head in his hands and bent my head down. So instead of looking out and everything around me, I actually looked down into the ocean. And it was a world, it was a whole new magical world of incredible beings and colour and light and exquisite. And I was so in awe. I almost forgot to breathe. I certainly forgot to be scared. So my experience of water, before that was appreciative, after that was totally wonderfully in awe and gratitude of all the waters of our beloved planetary home. But the story of water, of course, doesn't go just back with Gaia even. It goes back, the story of water goes back to the very beginning of our universe. Within the first few minutes of our universe, which I always say wasn't a big bang, it was minute, but it was a big breath, this incredible, ordered, exquisitely fine-tuned thought we call our universe. But in that first moment of the big breath, minutes after its first impulse, the hydrogen of water came into being. So it was there from the very get-go. All the hydrogen in all the water in all the world goes back to the beginning of the universe. And so is 13.8 billion years old. But then, because our universe is incredibly intelligent and with an innate evolutionary impulse from simplicity to complexity, hydrogen was pretty much on its own for several hundred million years until space expanded, cooled down enough, and matter then got shepherded, hydrogen got shepherded into the first stars. And in those stars, alchemy, magic happened. And hydrogen began to be transformed into helium, and then heavier and heavier and heavier elements, including the carbon that we're made up of, but also oxygen. So those first stars were able to begin to bring into birth the possibility of combining oxygen with hydrogen to form water. But it wasn't just those first generations of stars. Another generation still was needed before all the nutrients that wouldn't just make up water, oxygen and water, but would make up all that we are, all that Gaia is. All 94 elements were coming into creation. And so, after billions and billions of years, there were sufficient nutrients between the stars of the galaxies that had then formed to create interstellar birthing clouds. And those birthing clouds, I love the background of Manose's song, because at one point there was this sort of cosmic light that just came up. And those are real. I mean, those are real. They're called eggs. And those incredible protuberances are hundreds of light years in extent. And within them are interstellar dust clouds, birthing clouds. And those clouds have all the elemental nutrients. But by then, oxygen and hydrogen have come together to form tiny ice, little tiny ice, not even crystals, but perfect to nurture the ongoing evolutionary impulse of our universe. So by around 6 billion years ago, the interstellar dust clouds, and one in particular, began to gravitationally collapse. And as it did so, our solar system came into being. Our solar system of our central soul and all the planets, including Gaia, going around him. And our solar system was replete with water, replete with water. And so when the planets came into form, Gaia came into form as a water planet. But so did Mars, Gaia's little brother. And so did Venus, Gaia's sister planet. All three were water planets. And beyond them, in the asteroid belt, there were rocks that were, you know, if you could actually squeeze a rock, and I wouldn't advise it, like a sponge, they were filled with water. And even beyond that, some of the moons of Jupiter and Saturn also had a lot of water around them, and surface water. So our whole solar system was primed by then for us, for biological life, because in those interstellar dust clouds, pre-organic molecules were already starting to stir. The nutrients, the light, the ice of water were already beginning to bring them into possibility. So, by 4.5 billion years ago, Gaia was born, as I said, as a water planet. There were no land, just water. She was covered with water. And in her waters, more water was being delivered from asteroids and comets to make sure she had such an abundance of water. And that became the womb for her organic children. So over the next billions of years, they evolved. Tiny, tiny little single-celled organisms, themselves filled with water. And then ongoing evolutionary impulse from simplicity to complexity, to multi-celled beings, to plants, and ultimately to people, and everything in between. And all of Gaia's organic children need water. We cannot live without water. Plants cannot live without water. Amoeba can't live without water. Dinosaurs couldn't live without water. Water is our life. But within us, we are around 70% of water, as is now the oceans of Gaia. But the water within us is not Gaia's oceans of today. It's the oceans of 3 billion years ago. The waters within us have this ancient, ancient memory of the very beginnings of the birthing and the emergence of Gaia's organic children. And every one of her organic children from then till now have embodied within them the memory of ancient waters. So this is the wonder of water, this is the magic of water, this is the honouring of water. And we come today together at such a propitious moment with World Water Gathering, a couple of days ahead, but to honour water every day, to love water every day, to be grateful for water every day. And so I'd like now to pass to my dear friend, Jane, to guide us into a deep, meditative relationship with water.
Thank you, Jude. And thank you for our ancient heritage. So as we prepare for this meditation together, this heart coherence pulse within us and beyond us, find a way to feel yourself truly earthed, your feet upon the ground, your roots going down into the earth, into the planet. And then remembering that the planet itself is surrounded by water. Water forms in the great oceans on so much of the Earth's surface. We are part of that. So traveling now up through your body to your heart area. Not just that beautiful organ that beats every single moment of your life, circulating life energy, but your heart as an energy center, radiating coherent energy into the field that we share. And as your heart does this, remembering that we are mostly water. Through every cell of our bodies, water flows. Without water, we would not be alive. We are part of, we are an expression of the living processes of water. We are one with water. And feeling a sense of the waters within your body, offer gratitude for the miracle that we are here at all, for the miracle that we're on this watery planet, for the miracle of its cosmic origins that Jude remembered for us, those ancient oceans forming and giving life, which we became the inheritors of. So feeling a sense of that gratitude for the beauty and the wonder of this planet that we share, and the waters moving within us and around us. Slow your breathing right down so that you're breathing in and breathing out and breathing in and breathing out through your heart center, through that energetic center at the core of your body. And I'll go quiet for a moment or two while you go inwards to experience that, and knowing that in this moment you're also radiating out coherent energy into the field that we are creating and sharing. And as we come together, feeling such gratitude for these processes that support life on Earth, we can celebrate the power of water within us, in every single cell of our bodies, in our heart brain, in the brain in our heads. We can celebrate the cycle of water coming into our bodies, moving through our bodies, making possible all the information flow, all the nutrient flow, all the communication between our cells, all of the communication that we have with the world beyond and each other. And then that sense that as we come together and connect and form a field together, it's like we're sitting around a campfire together, wherever we are on the planet right now. And our hands, feeling the glow of the fire, the dance of the flames on this equinox day, this moment of celebrating light coming onto our watery planet. And I'll pause again while you work with whatever that means to you as you're breathing in and out through your heart area. And thinking more of the whole cycle of water on this planet, the miracles that we're part of and that we're sharing every moment. Let's start with the oceans, the blue oceans that give our blue planet its name when we first were able to see it from space. The beauty of that planet, the shimmering aquamarine colours. The water evaporating from the sea's surface, forming clouds in the sky. These things we already knew or learnt as a child or remembered as a child. The clouds forming in the sky, the rain falling onto the earth and the sea. The water collecting in the earth and the springs pulsing up, and the water flowing into springs and streams and rivulets, and those in turn flowing into rivers and converging, and the pulse of the water flowing getting stronger and deeper, and the water flowing as we catch a little of it to sustain our own lives and the lives of other beings around us, and the water flowing and flowing back to the sea, and the whole cycle of life on this precious planet, Gaia. We knew this as children. We know it now. So as we move forward to prepare for World Water Day, and all the gatherings of different cultures around the world on that day, to celebrate our relationship with water, the sacredness of water, the care we take of it the stewardship we have of it for each other and for future generations, and the action that we commit to taking to safeguard the preciousness and the purity of our water supplies for all human beings and all beings on the earth. I'm going to read from some ancient wisdom. The Hopi people in Arizona wrote this as we were on the eve of the millennium, the beginning of this century, but I think it still stands true. They said, "You have been telling people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell people that this is the hour. And there are things to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relation? Where is your water? Know your garden. It is time to speak your truth, create your community, be good to yourself, and not look outside of yourself for a leader. This could be a good time. There is a river flowing very fast. It is so great and fast that there are those who will be afraid. They will hold on to the shore. They will feel that they are being torn apart, and they will suffer greatly. Know that the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of the river, keep our eyes open and our heads above the water. See who else is in there with you and celebrate. And at this time, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth comes to a halt. The time of the lone wolf is over. Gather yourself. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones that we have been waiting for. With gratitude to the elders, the Hopi nation in Arizona, for that poem of over 20 years ago, but still I think the image of that river flowing very fast and pushing off from the banks and looking around to see who else is in there with you and celebrating still speaks to these times that we're in. So taking a moment again to reconnect, to strengthen our breathing in and out of our heart centers. That deeper and deeper coherence that we're sharing. Let's come together to send a pulse into the field beyond us, into the field of all humanity and the planet that we share with all its waters. A pulse of gratitude, a pulse of celebration, a pulse of commitment to safeguard the precious waters on which we all depend and other beings do too, and to take the action that we feel called to take together, to take care of the water on this planet. And coming together with heart-centered gratitude for all that we can create, all that can happen when we come together in a powerful, heart-centered way. Let's draw this moment of meditation to a close, but keep our heart-centered breathing going throughout the rest of this pulse.
And that was such a lovely meditation and so deep, just connecting in with the beauty of the water. And Jude, what a beautiful story. I love seeing all of the comments in the chat around how people are impacted by this kind of story of our origins and this kind of ancient water that lives inside of us. So thank you for that. And beautiful Jane for your meditation. We have just a little time before we do our blessing with our water. So if you don't have your water yet, get a glass or a pitcher of water so that we can keep blessing it with us and a special poem. But Jude, I wonder if you had just had some thoughts that you wanted to share now after the meditation and just to kind of bring your heart in again.
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you, Jane, and thank you for everyone. The field is palpable. The pulse is so filled with love. And of course, water holds memory. So that memory, that vibration, that embodiment of our love, I really feel flowing out through all of Gaia's waters. And I'd just like to sort of invite. We've got a saying at Whole World View: think cosmic, feel global, and act local. And that, for me, feels so pertinent for how our relationship with water is. It's on a very local level. It's a stream that flows near us. It's the water out of our taps. It's how we drink that water, the sacredness with which we drink that water, and the gratitude with which we drink that water, incredibly local, and making sure that we are stewards for the waters that are close to us. And then beyond that, to really have a sense of feeling the waters of Gaia in all their wonder and serving those and loving those. And then taking that breath still further out to perceive, the cosmic nature of water there from the beginning to ensure that the evolutionary impulse of our entire universe can progress, can grow to ever greater levels of self-awareness, and a self-awareness that where we can remember our origins and re-heart ourselves and heal our relationships with all the waters of Gaia and all her children.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. And Jane, how about you? That was such a beautiful meditation. Your voice is just so soothing and so sweet.
Well, I want to share a note of humor with you all. I'm sitting on the little island of Ibiza in my homemade studio, which is a building going back to 1716 that used to be a stable block, and it's been converted, and it's 5 minutes from the sea. And in the past 24 hours, we've had the most intense rain and wind that I've had since I first arrived here 3 months ago. And because the building is old, none of the doors or the windows fit properly. And there's a lot of humidity. So in the winter, the doors shrink, and in the summer, they swell with the water in the atmosphere. So because they're still quite shrunken now, as the rain lashed down, it rushed in through the bottom of the door and the sides of the door. So some of my day-to-day has been spent clearing out water and remembering to offer huge gratitude to it, as my forebears must have done in this same small building too. So I wanted to share that, to be real, that the forces of nature are strong and very dynamic. And of course, we're so much part of that. And we live with it, not against it. That was what I was just reminded, that we're all part of these greater rhythms of life and their ancient cosmic origins. It was good to remember that as I emptied out bucket number 5 earlier today.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm gonna be showing a slide about the World Water Gathering, Jane. But because we have a few minutes, I wondered if you just wanted to say something about that. I know that you have been involved in that beautiful event that's occurring, and maybe you can just share a little bit about that. I'll put a link in the chat.
Gladly, thank you. So World Water Day on the 22nd, shared all around the world. There'll be many, many events, but for the first time this year, there'll be a World Water Gathering, which is coming together of people from ancient wisdom traditions. It's being hosted by people in Hawaii, some of the ancient elders, ancient wisdom tradition bearers there, and many other ancient wisdom traditions are represented in a council to support this event. And they have their own sacred ecologies, their own ways of understanding, knowing, and being with water and with life. Then there's a coming together of new water scientists who are working with insights and understandings into what water is and the preciousness of its processes. And many people will name them and know the name Masaru Emoto, who started a revolution in our understanding of water and the power of vibration as it moves through water and forms patterns, which are again part of the processes of life. And then there'll be a mix of generations who've been invited to submit videos to send their messages to water, the water that surrounds and supports and within us all, and about water. And then following on from the World Water Gathering, which will be broadcast for 24 hours, so that it's available to people in many different time zones, there'll be a whole series of actions by those who are committed to taking it forward, taking forward actions in their own locations and more globally to safeguard the preciousness of the Earth's waters and the way that we steward them now and for future generations. So I hope the link is very clearly available to everybody if you want to tune in and find out what suits you in your own particular time zone.
Beautiful. I also saw, Jane, I signed up yesterday, and I also saw that there was an invitation to go deeper. And that was to spend 7 days just drinking water, and that every day you could put what day you were going to start, which I'm going to start on World Water Day, and that they would provide some inspiration every day about the sacredness of water as you ingested just water for 7 days. So I'm going to do that. And I really appreciate all the beautiful work that went into that event. If you go and look at the website, it's absolutely stunning and such a beautiful offering. So let's take a minute now. Jude, we're gonna do a water blessing. You have a beautiful prayer that you're gonna share with us. You can tell us something about that. And we're gonna play some of those images again as you're reading that prayer so that we can really be in the potency of the water and get ready to have our water blessing for our bodies.
Thank you, Teresa. I'd like to invite everybody who has a glass of water, perhaps to actually hold it and hold it close to their hearts as I read this blessing to water and in praise of water. And this blessing was written by an incredible Irish visionary and mystic called John O'Donoghue. And so I'm just going to take my video off so that you can see this candle that's overlooking waters. And the waters that this candle is overlooking is at the demilitarized zone in Korea, where I was part of a peace delegation a couple of years ago. So we're with the waters always. So these are John O'Donoghue's words. And again, invite you to perhaps hold your glass of water in your heart and perhaps close your eyes and just feel the gratitude towards the water as you do so. Let us bless the grace of water, the imagination of the primeval ocean where the first forms of life stirred and emerged to dress the vacant earth with warm quilts of colour. The well whose liquid root worked through the long night of clay, trusting ahead of itself openings that would yet yield to its yearning, until at last it arises in the desire of light, to discover the pure quiver of itself, flowing crystal clear and free through delighted emptiness. The courage of a river to continue belief in the slow fall of ground, always falling further towards the unseen ocean. The river does what words would love, keeping its appearance by insisting on disappearance. Its only life surrendered to the event of pilgrimage, carrying the origin to the end, seldom pushing or straining. Keeping itself to itself, everywhere, all along its flow, at one with its sinuous mind. An utter rhythm, never awkward. It continues to swirl through all unlikeness with elegance. A ceaseless traverse of presence, soothing on each side the stilled fields, sounding out its journey, raising up buried music, where the silence of time becomes almost audible. Tides stirred by the eros of the moon draw from that permanent restlessness perfect waves that languidly rise and pleat in gradual forms of acquaintance and aquamarine, to offer every last tear of delight at the altar of stillness inland. And the rain in the night, driven by the loneliness of the wind, to perforate the darkness, as though some air pocket might open to release the perfume of the lost day, and salvage some memory from its forsaken turbulence, and drop its weight of longing into the earth and anchor. Let us bless the humility of water, always willing to take the shape of whatever otherness holds it. The buoyancy of water, stronger than the deadening downward drag of gravity. The innocence of water, flowing forth without thought of what awaits it. The refreshment of water, dissolving the crystals of thirst. Water, voice of grief, cry of love in the flowing tear. Water, vehicle and idiom of all the inner voyaging that keeps us alive. Blessed be water, our first mother. And in thanking our first mother, may we raise in sacred gratitude our water to our lips. And perhaps, as the indigenous wisdom keepers do, allow some of the water to remain in its container, and perhaps to go outside after we've been together and offer the remains of that water gratefully into the earth of Gaia. This is a process known as Amy, or reciprocity, or mutuality, and was taught to me by the Kero wisdom keepers of Peru. So wholehearted thanks to the water. Feel it refresh, feel it flow through us, feel it flow through every part of us with joy. Our hope.
Oh, so beautiful. I'm going to bring back the gallery view here. I'm going to add Jane. Jane, there were some beautiful blessings for your home in the chat. I just love how we're taking such good care of each other, and we're sharing the, reality of what we face as we're pulsing the planet with our coherent love and choosing love no matter what we face. And we've all been doing that. I'm going to share a few announcements. Don't go away. And we have one more music video to play at the end that will leave us with that little state of joy like we had as we had Manose at the beginning. And thank you, two beautiful ladies. I appreciate you so much. And I look forward to us continuing to dance and play together. Yeah. So let me open up. Let's just share screen for a minute. I'm just going to show you about two more events, and I'm going to put these in the chat. Heart Math has an event every year that they do, usually down in Mexico. And because of COVID, they're not able to do that live. So they're doing their first online virtual event. They have 500 people is the maximum. I think they're like 475 people. They're almost sold out. It's happening next weekend. And it's a beautiful event, and I hope you can all join. Greg Braden is going to be there, Roland McCready, who's one of the co-founders of the Global Coherence Pulse, along with Claudia Wells and Howard Martin and Deborah Roseman. So if you feel like diving deep into what global coherence actually is, the science and the embodiment of it, this is a great event to do. I also want to invite you all to check out the new Islands of Coherence social network. We've actually created a social network on Mighty Networks. We have all kinds of friends invited to come and play there. It's a place if you're really looking to deepen your practice and embodiment of coherence, and you want to hang out with other people who are doing the same around the planet. So please go to the Islands of Coherence network. Jude and Jane, I'd love to get Whole World View to be one of the clusters in there. We'll be meeting about that soon. And yeah, the last piece is the event on World Water Day. Let me go back to that slide. World Water Day on March 22nd that Jane was telling us about. Please use the link, check it out, and let's all continue to take this energy that we've been cultivating today, and let's keep blessing the water leading up to World Water Day so that we can make a huge impact on healing our waters, both in our own bodies and in the world. So I'm going to go ahead and put all those links in the chat here. Great. So thank you again, beautiful ladies. I'm so happy that we get to co-create together. And let's roll our last video. This is Maria Stark, and the music is called Water into Water. And I think you'll really love the feeling tone that it has. So have a blessed day. Enjoy this final song in our journey. Wasn't that fun? That's Maria Stark, another beautiful singer, performer, one of our artists. Thank you so much, Maria, for that beautiful music, and for Kristen Hoffman, who I just felt like needed to be with us today. And her music always just sends me into the most glorious place. And again, Jude and Jane, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, everyone. Let's keep blessing the water all day and over the next many days, and really create a wave of grace to bless all of the World Water Day ceremonies that are coming. So thank you, everyone. Blessings. Have a
Thank you,
lovely
everyone.
day.
Yes.
Thank you. Blessings.